Hello everybody, it is Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome to my first Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS Episode 1 review. I gotta tell you, preliminary reports, I couldn't have asked for a better Episode 1. I just watched subs, I watched it live, and subs only increase the likeness of the episode as it usually does, because when I watch it live, sure, I get to see what's going on, but I don't really know what's going on, and so subs are out, so if you go to, like, GoGo Anime or Kiss Anime if you want to watch it subbed, and it was really a phenomenal way to kick off Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS. Now, I reacted to the first opening and ending on my channel. If you want to check those videos out, I will link them down below. 4K Media, believe it or not, is actually going on a strike rampage. They are taking down a bunch of videos related to opening one and ending one, so these videos might not be up on my channel for too much longer. I guess this means 4K Media has the rights to Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS. We haven't heard an announcement that they will be dubbing Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS, but this is kind of a big indicator because obviously if they didn't have the rights to VRAINS, they wouldn't be and if they didn't know VRAINS was starting today, they wouldn't be, taking down a bunch of videos. So if anyone from 4K is watching, please don't take down my reactions. That's kind of my I'm begging you please not to. And hopefully they won't, because it is a reaction. It is kind of a smaller screen. It's not like a full, whenever you upload a full ending or opening that takes up the entire screen, there's always more of a chance that it will be taken down. But watch those videos because they might not be up for too much longer. Usually I begin these reviews with a 30-second clip. I'm not going to do that for the first episode. I will do that second episode starting on. I'm not going to change that format. I did that throughout Arc 5 and I didn't have an issue with it. If you use like 20 seconds or 25 seconds, usually you don't have an issue, but the first episode, they're usually very strict when it comes to clips and such. That's kind of why the opening and endings are being purged off YouTube, so I'm not going to show a clip. Instead, we're just going to get right into it. I cannot wait, because reacting to the openings and endings were fun. Talking to you guys about it down below was fun, but I cannot wait to talk to you guys down below, so please let me know all your thoughts on Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS Episode 1 down below. We begin right, we kick things off right off the bat, and that's what I loved. I felt like there was no point in this episode that was kind of pointless or fillery, which sometimes you get in the first episode because it's the first episode, but I thought this episode did such a great job at properly jumping into the plot. And we see Revolver, and the opening scene is actually 5 years in the past. Revolver has aged amazingly because, and I guess maybe it's because it's his VR account. I guess maybe your VR account doesn't age. Like if you age in the real world, the second you go into virtual reality, if that is his VR account, I'm not sure because we don't really know where the Knights of Hanoi base is. It might not be in the VR world. It might be in the regular world. I'm not too sure. There's still a lot of mysteries surrounding the Knights and just surrounding Link VRAINS and Data Wind and Speed Duels in general. And Yusaku says something very interesting in the Episode 2 preview, which I will touch on obviously later. This probably will be my longest review ever for an episode just because so much happened and it is the first episode for VRAINS. But we see Revolver basically trying to kill the Psyverse. Now, what exactly is the Psyverse? It seems like it's something that powers Link VRAINS. At least that's what I got from it during Akira and Bishop's conversation. Why they want to kill the Psyverse, we don't really know, and it's too early to say if that is a wrong thing to do, like if killing the Psyverse and destroying Link VRAINS is wrong, or maybe they know that, Bishop, who kind of seems to be the head of Soul Technology, that Soul Technology has these really underhanded motives and Link VRAINS is gonna destroy everything. And if that's the case, then what the Knights are doing is actually kind of heroic. Now, the method of achieving it, I don't necessarily agree with, destroying buildings, killing off characters, which we'll get into. They didn't really kill off characters, I don't think, but we will get into that. And then we see these, and there's 6 of them, and we know that from the opening. There's 6 AIs, it seems, that are trapped, and the only one that survived is the one that becomes Yusaku's, and the one that kind of merges with Yusaku's dual disc. It's pretty obvious based on the opening, and I will be doing an in-depth analysis of the openings and endings. It's pretty obvious that it seems most characters are going to get a specific AI that coordinates with their colors. We have a blue female one. That is obviously at some point probably going to be Aoi Zaizen's AI. We have an orange one that I'd imagine is going to be Go Onizuka's AI. I believe we have a red one. We have a green one. I don't remember all the colors. It seems like the red one could even be Revolver's, which is kind of weird because Revolver was the one trying to destroy them and trapping them. So, I don't know, but I think they're going to have a major role to play, especially towards the end of opening 1. We see these 4, Revolver, Yusaku, Aoi, and Go, all trying to transform into their colors, and then we see this big bird, and it reminds me so much of the Crimson Dragon, which symbolizes, obviously, the bonds of the signers and 5Ds, and it seems like they could really be going for another feel like that, where these 4 characters, or these 5 or 6 characters, have to join a team, maybe go after Soul Technology, maybe go after Bishop, maybe go after a group that we are completely unaware of. Because remember, in 5Ds, we didn't even know the Dark Signers were a thing until 27 episodes in. So that is going to be very interesting to keep an eye on. But the AI escapes. The AI escapes. Revolver's unable to kill him. And then we go to a flash forward. Well, not a flash forward. Now we're in the future, 5 years later. So all these events happened in the past, and already we know Yusaku's past, and we see flashbacks of him. You know, in class, he's dreaming of himself in the past, and we hear a female voice, it sounds, that says, "Hey, wake up." I don't know if that was Naoki's voice telling him to wake up, or if that was someone in his past telling him to wake up. I really don't know, and if it was Naoki's voice, it just could have been morphed. Obviously, Naoki doesn't have a female voice because of the just because he was dreaming and he was in a state of kind of, maybe he was lucid dreaming or something like that. So I don't really know, but Yusaku's past is going to have a major role in this. What was he doing 5 years ago when when the Knights of Hanoi attacked the Cyverse world? That's going to be an interesting concept to see forward. Yusaku is dueling a knight. He's dueling, and we learn that this knight is not Spectre, so I will formally apologize. I was completely wrong. They showed Spectre, and they showed this knight on the same screen. I figured they were the same character. I know a lot of people did. It's confirmed now, completely different characters. So Spectre is not that knight, that cracking dragon Knight of Hanoi. But Yusaku defeats that cracking dragon Knight of Hanoi, and when he's dueling this Knight of Hanoi, it's also during the scene where Aoi is running away as Blue Angel from the cracking dragon user. I cannot wait until the OST comes out, because the musical score was incredible. That theme song with the piano that's playing as Aoi is running away, and it's towards the end of this episode, and it's played, I believe, when Yusaku is finishing off this Knight of Hanoi, and he announces his name as Playmaker. That OST is absolutely incredible. I'm already in love with that. I'm probably going to binge watch those two scenes, because I love that theme. I don't know if that's Yusaku's theme, or if it's kind of like Swing Pendulum of the Souls, because some people consider that Yuya's like secondary theme. It probably is. I don't think it's Yusaku's theme. I think it's going to be like what Swing Pendulum of the Souls was. But that is an incredible musical piece. I cannot wait until the soundtrack does come out for Yugioh VRAINS, because honestly, all the themes sounded really intense. We get some banter between Yusaku and Naoki. And I really do like Naoki's character a lot more than I thought I would. You know, he goes on about how the Playmaker is amazing. And at the end, Yusaku absolutely roasts him. I just love Yusaku because, to me, it's such a breath of fresh air with what we've had over the last 6 years. And again, there's nothing wrong with what Zexal and Arc 5 did with their protagonists, but their protagonists were very, pumped up and hyper, and we have a whole different 180 feel, where Yusaku, I feel like if you went to Yuma and Yuya and said, "Hey, we want you to star in the new Yu-Gi-Oh series," both of them would be like, "Oh my god, that's amazing, yeah, I want to do it. Whereas if you went over to Yusaku and said, "Hey, Yusaku, we want you to star in the next Yu-Gi-Oh series for the next 3 years," he would just be like, "No freaking way, man." Like, he does not want to have anything to do with this. And it's a very interesting demeanor for a Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist to have, and I really do like that about him. So he names 3 things about Naoki that he thinks makes him a bad duelist, and then he names 3 things that, about Naoki that makes him, like, say, "You're not really a bad guy, you just don't have a lot of confidence," and such. And Naoki's like, "What the hell's wrong with you? I'm out of here. You can be lonely, and if you have no friends, you have no one to duel with or whatnot." And I think at the end of this convo, Naoki actually hits a dab. And I gotta tell you, if he does hit the dab here, he's probably my favorite character by default. I mean, like, he's the most relatable character. Okay, no, I'm kidding, but that was a A+ dab that he hit. I do have to give him credit for that. So then we go to, I believe the next scene we see is Soul Technology. And we see Akira talking to Bishop, and Bishop, I did not think they'd take his name literally. He's literally a giant chess piece. Talking to Akira. It seems like Bishop is the head of Soul Technology. I kind of speculated that maybe the head would be the Zaizen's father. It's still possible. We obviously don't know who Bishop is. It's probably not Akira and Aoi's father, to be honest, but Akira's talking to Bishop about how they desperately need to find Ignis, which is the AI that's missing, and about how if they don't find Ignis, the entire Cyverse, like Link VRAINS, has fallen by 30% the efficiency, and if they don't find Ignis and the Cyverse continues to kind of decline, their business is going to go out of trouble, or their business is not going to go out of trouble. It's going to be in trouble. They're going to go out of business, which I think is so accurate. It's such a corporate way to look at things, and I feel like we have another moment down the road in this episode that's another very corporate way to look at things. And obviously, a lot of people say, "Oh, corporate greed is something that really is a horrible thing, and I think Yugioh VRAINS is going to try to tackle that topic, and I think they're going to be able to tackle it pretty accurately. So I'm going to get into that a little later on why I think that, because I might be misinterpreting something, and I guess you guys can let me know. But then we see Revolver, and we see Spectre talking to Revolver, and this was a cool scene where Spectre is talking to Revolver, and he's like, we know we have to find Ignis. If the Knights of if Soul Technology gets their hands on Ignis, the AI, all our work to destroy Cyverse is going to be for naught. And Revolver's like, all right, we'll get it. And Spectre's like, also, there's this guy named Playmaker who's causing us a lot of trouble. And Revolver's like, oh, that's interesting, but, we can't worry about that right now. We have to focus on getting the AI. So here's a very interesting thing. If Yusaku's past had something to do with the Knights of Hanoi 5 years ago when the whole incident happened, wouldn't Revolver, unless Revolver lost his memory too, wouldn't Revolver remember that and be like, Playmaker, when he sees Playmaker on screen, like, Yusaku, why is he back? Unless he just doesn't recognize Playmaker, even though it's pretty obvious Playmaker is freaking Yusaku. I mean, they don't look, it's not like Aoi and Blue Angel, they really don't look that different. So that's why it leads me to believe that Yusaku's past didn't have anything to do with the Knights of Hanoi, because they don't seem to recognize him from the events that happened 5 years in the past. And we know Revolver, because of the very first scene, was involved in those incidents 5 years in the past. So I just don't know. There's just a lot of things that it's tough to figure out. I'm starting to believe that the main real villain is either going to be Bishop, or it's going to be a character we have yet to see, a group we have yet to see. So it's just going to be an interesting thing to, I guess, follow and keep your eyes on and speculate, and I can't wait again to talk to you guys about all this down below. We move on to Yusaku and Kusanagi talking. Kusanagi's like, I'm sorry for dragging you into this. Yeah, he's talking to them about Blue Angel and Go Onizuka, about how they're charisma duelists, and Yusaku's like, I'm doing this. We knew this line. This was the line that we got. I'm doing this on my own will. I'm gonna save the people who took your little brother and my past away. Now, I don't know if they took Kusanagi's brother's past away, and Kusanagi's brother is still around, or if they took Kusanagi's brother, period, and Yusaku's past, and Kusanagi's brother is maybe killed off. Some people speculate maybe it's Revolver. That's a very interesting theory, but I'm kind of not really believing that, because again, we see this flashback 5 years in the past, and if these events happened 5 years in the past, which they could have happened, a year in the past, they could have happened 10 years in the past, we really don't know. I think that kind of kills the theory that Revolver is Kusanagi's brother. Just in my opinion, he could be someone else. He could maybe, I don't think he's going to be Bishop. I think Bishop sounds like an older, like 40, 50-year-old dude, especially if you created Soul Technology, and Soul has been around for a long time. So I think that kind of kills off that theory, to be honest, that Kusanagi's brother is Revolver, especially because it's his younger brother, and Kusanagi and Revolver don't seem to be that much, difference in age comparison to each other. But we'll see. We didn't get anything about Kusanagi's younger brother in the openings or endings, which I was kind of hoping we would. So I don't know. I really don't know what route they're going to do, if his younger brother is killed, if his younger brother has just been missing, and who caused his younger brother this much anger, because it doesn't seem like at any point Kusanagi gets overly aggressive towards Soul Technology or the Knights of Hanoi. Like, if the Knights of Hanoi blatantly killed his younger brother, you'd think once they're on the computer in his hot dog truck, which, by the way, I mean, literally the tech they have in their hot dog truck is probably worth more than my entire life. Like, Jesus Christ. I mean, they close the truck and like 8 desktops come up with like 4 keyboards, and I'm like, Jesus, that is awesome. I mean, we know these two are skilled, and they set a trap for Ignis and the AI. But like, when the Knights of Hanoi break into the system, or when they talk about Soul Technology doing their scan, if I was Kusanagi and I knew one of those two groups killed off my little brother or stole my little brother, I'd say, those freaking bastards, you know what I mean? And we didn't really get that from Kusanagi. So that's what leads me to believe that neither of these factions are really responsible for what happened to Yusaku and what happened to Kusanagi, just based off their dialogue with each other and their kind of interaction with each other. It doesn't seem like this is a really deep down boiled hatred. So I don't know. I think there's just still a lot of mystery out there. At least that's the way that I interpreted it. I don't think either of these groups are really the main bosses, the main end bosses in Yugioh VRAINS. That's just my opinion, at least. And again, we're just going to have to wait and see. But they set the trap. Yusaku's able to get the AI. Cracking Dragon user breaks through the screen of Link VRAINS, and this is where it gets weird, because he breaks through, unless there's multiple of the knights, but I only think there's one Cracking Dragon user going around. He kills a bunch of different people just by this cracking dragon breathing fire, and you literally, I mean, one of the more brutal scenes of it is that this girl duelist is like trapped in a corner, and then they show the knight and cracking dragon, and the fire just comes down, she screams, and then just fizzes away. And now here's the corporate greed that I was referencing before, because a few of the people that are on their computers are just like, you know, a bunch of Link VRAINS accounts are going down. Now I wonder, this would be really messed up if this is the case, if that when you die in Link VRAINS, you die in the real world. That's the only line that we got that suggests that's not the case. It seems like when you die in Link VRAINS, you lose your account. But it would not shock me if the greed of this company is not concerned about the actual well-being of these people, and instead of saying, oh my god, people are losing their lives, they're just more concerned about their precious Link VRAINS accounts being disabled. That'll be an interesting thing to see. So I'm not totally convinced that when you do die here, you're fine in the real world and you only lose your account. That is what's said. But there were other kind of mini references here that makes me think they're really only concerned about the well-being of Link VRAINS and about, you know, them making money. That's why they're after Ignis and such, and they're just a very greedy company. I could be completely wrong about that. They could be completely fine in the real world, but we will have to wait and see for more clarity on that. But I'll tell you, if that is actually them losing their life, that is a dark, but that might actually have made my top 10 darkest moments. Of course, if it's just them losing their Link VRAINS account, which it seems like it probably is, I'm probably just overthinking it, it's not really that bad. You're still fine in the real world. You just lose, I guess, all the logs and hours you've put into Link VRAINS, and I guess you can't log back in. So that kind of sucks, especially if you're someone like Blue Angel or Go Onizuka, who's really, especially if you're Blue Angel, that's probably all Aoi really has, and that's like your whole livelihood. And so we see a scene now where Aoi is running away from the cracking dragon user. And this is probably my only complaint of the episode. I don't know why she doesn't turn around and duel this guy, if she's considered to be one of the best duelists in Link VRAINS. I don't know why she kind of has to be a damsel in distress right off the bat. Yusaku saves her, then Yusaku... But here's the thing, if I'm not going to be too critical on it, because we might have a scene 10 episodes down the road where Aoi or Blue Angel saves Yusaku and she's like, alright, now we're even. You know what I mean? Like, there's still ways they could be fine with it, but I'm watching it, and I'm watching Aoi run away, and I'm like, yeah, here we go. Yusaku's going to save her, and she's not going to, you know, turn around and duel this guy for whatever reason, and it's literally going to be the same old female writing in Yu-Gi-Oh! But I'm not going to be critical, because if they do something like that 3 or 4 episodes down the road, where Aoi says, you know, even something along the lines like, thank you for saving me, even though I didn't, you know, need help, I didn't want to be saved, something like that, to show her that she has a little independence, and she doesn't have to rely on Yusaku to that max. I'm not really going to be too critical of it at this point, because it's the first episode, and they could do something where she does save him and return the favor down the road. So, not too critical. That was the one thing that I'm watching it, and I'm like, I wish they kind of maybe wrote that scene a little differently. But Yusaku steps in, he's holding the AI hostage, which is what the Knights are after, it's what Akira and Soul Technology are after, and they're all shocked that Yusaku has the AI program. Revolver smiles as if like, oh, this is going to be fun, and the Cracking Dragon user challenges him to a duel. The AI says, your deck's not good enough, mate. And he unlocks the Cyverse, and he unlocks the Data Wind. Yusaku rides on the D-board that he just got, and the duel looks like it is about to begin, and that is the end of what was a very, very stellar first episode. I've talked for a long time, and I'm sure there's things that I didn't even cover, but just a really, really entertaining episode. We see the preview for the second episode, and it looks like Yusaku's falling off his D-board towards the end of it. It looks like a card flies out of his hand. And right when that happens, they show the Cracking Dragon user smiling. And I just have to wonder, the one line here that Yusaku says, do I know how to speed duel, or have I speed dueled before? Who is Yusaku Fujiki? Because he's clearly, he would not think that, or they would not put that in the show if he has not speed dueled in the past. So clearly 5 years ago when he was this young kid, he must have been able to speed duel. What happened in the past? That is the thing that I did a podcast with a few of my friends a couple days ago, and that was my number one exciting thing for VRAINS. I want to know what happened in this guy's past, but based off the dialogue we've gotten between him and Kusanagi and the Knights and Soul Technology, I don't think that any of those two factions, again, have anything to do with his past. I think it's going to be a completely new group that is yet to be mentioned, or maybe he just doesn't remember. I guess that's possible, but Kusanagi would remember, wouldn't he? If one of those two groups stole his little brother and took his life, or is holding him hostage or whatnot. And we don't hear any really remorse or anger towards either of them from Kusanagi when they're hacking into the system and they're trying to set the trap for the AI. So I don't really know. Really, really, really awesome episode. Watch it if you have not. The Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS era has officially begun. My breakdown of the opening and ending, maybe some more theories and speculation, will hopefully be out tomorrow. If it's not out tomorrow, it will definitely be out Friday. So that is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed probably my longest Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode review ever. Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS episode 1 is in the books. We hopefully have a very, very fun 3 years ahead of us. Have an amazing day, everyone. I will talk to you down below. Thank you for watching.